Okay, we're going.
Hi, everybody. My name's Trish Hetherington, and I would like to introduce to you a very dear friend of mine who I met not that long ago. Although it feels like I've known her forever. Mary Lucero is a brilliant woman with a very big heart. She's got a PhD in microbiology, and she specializes in soil microbes. And I am just a nerd who loves all this stuff. A, because I'm a nerd, and B, because it has everything to do with our long-term health. And I would like for, Mary to start sharing some information that she shared with me. Gosh, when was Salt Lake?
Last summer.
It was in the summer. Yeah. And I would like her to we're going to start sharing some of this information with you guys so you can start to see not only the small picture of your health, however, she'll be able to pull it back and show you the big view of why all this is very important. And there's also a simple way to take care of it. That being said, Mary, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll let you have it.
Well, thank you, Trish. And yes, it took a lot of years of research to figure out what we all knew down inside anyway. Everything on the planet is connected. And what's happening in our environment, in our ecosystem, and where our food is grown is directly impacting our health. And it really is part of what drives things like the price of healthcare or the economy. So it's all this connectivity that became very clear to me because I was working across disciplines. I was actually in molecular biology. We were looking at chemistry and DNA and molecules and applying it to microbial ecosystems. And as my career progressed, I was looking increasingly at microbial diversity on the plant soil interface. And this took me into what we now call the field of microbiomes. So looking at these questions, while I was dealing with some major health issues of my own, really helped all these things come together. And one of the things that I started doing when I started talking to people about health and the connection between our food, our soil, and our health was actually trying to get people to look at what are the biggest problems we have in the world today and what can we do to make those better. And this really fits in well with Longevity's concept of betterment, I think, because I was basically asking people what needs betterment, what do we need improvement on? And regardless of what group I spoke to, people might have different details that they put in there, but you could sum up almost all the answers into 4 categories. Most of us need better health. We have, it's estimated that 60% of the adults in the United States have one or more chronic diseases. And of course, these are the diseases that are reported and documented. A lot of people are just tired and not feeling good. That's also a symptom of poor health. So if we could just improve everybody's health, boy, productivity would shoot up, our relationships would improve, things would get better, okay? But health is a big one. It's not everything. A lot of us want more money. A lot of us are concerned about the disparity and the gap between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. But when you look at the money being spent on healthcare, food, environmental factors, and some of these other issues, you realize that we have the power to turn these things around by taking care of the resources available to us, by restoring our ecosystems, by restoring some of the things that I'll talk about in the next couple of slides. Okay? This ties us directly to the environment, okay? a lot of us feel okay, we have enough money, but man, we're worried about climate change. We're seeing all these hurricanes coming. We're seeing all the plastics in the ocean. We're seeing all these concerns that do threaten our very future. I mean, we're in the Anthropocene epoch right now. Geologists have agreed that we are in an era of mass extinction. And it's the only questions remaining are whether or not we will be among those species that disappear. So most people would agree that maybe we could use a little bit of betterment on the environment. Maybe we can improve the environment a little bit. And finally, our relationships. Surprisingly, in the day-to-day living, it's how we relate to the people around us that affects our stress level, which comes back to our health. And all of these things, you know, our job satisfaction, our work environment are all impacted by relationships. So most people would agree that these are the areas we need betterment in. What do you think, Trish? Am I missing any big ones?
You know, they're all so interrelated. To improve one would eventually domino into others. I cannot think of any other major category that isn't in these four that you've already pointed out.
And you know something, Trish, I think that's the power of holistic thinking, is that you see those connections right away and you see the interrelatedness. And when I talk to people in very academic environments where we tend to be very separated by discipline, people in health aren't thinking about the environment. People in the business world aren't thinking about how health is affecting the workforce productivity or their business success. People in environmental science aren't necessarily thinking about healthcare and what people are paying for medications or what the hospitals are pumping into the water systems. They might be seeing some of that, but that connectivity, I think, is what differentiates the holistic thinker from somebody who's still living in a very fragmented mindset.
Yeah, and I see that a lot in my line of work. And I see it, you know, more and more in Western medicine in this country, that they're picking us apart in a, well, we'll just fix that hip, instead of saying, well, that hip is just another symptom of something bigger going on in your body. Because if you're getting one done, chances are you're going to have to get the other one done. And then it's going to work its way to your knees or your ankles, or, you know, just pick a joint.
Right.
Yeah, when one is starting to go, it's like your car, right? When you don't just change one tire, usually you just, you know, you got to make it all works together, and it's supposed to all work together. And if there's a red flag, a check engine light going on in your body, it will work its way through your entire body.
Right. And we tend to look at the one little symptom and we don't tie it all together. And I think that was kind of the transformation for me as I moved between looking at health. Whoops, I bumped ahead prematurely, but that's okay. It takes us there. Looking, you know, I was pretty engaged in environmental science, but of course I was raising a family, and healthcare was becoming a big issue because not only were my kids sick a lot, but I was on a steady decline. I was getting dealing with more personal health issues year by year. And boy, when my health finally crumbled, very quickly, you recognize the impact that has on your personal economy and on your family relationships and basically everything that's important to you. So you do see that these things are very closely interrelated. If one is struggling, if one is in a state of decline, the rest of it's going to decline too. But the good side of that is that if you start, like you said, if you start fixing one of these, then you can fix all of it. And I think that's the message we have to get out, is to help people start seeing that the repairs you make can be very powerful as long as you approach them in a way that cascades throughout the system. And when you realize that you're trying to fix all four of these sectors, then I think you can be a little bit more strategic in the approach you use to fix things. So
I agree. And in my line of work, I will always look at fixing health first.
that's what drew you in. That's what brought you into.
That's what I've been doing. And over 33 years of personal training, I have learned a lot about, yes, I do trig and physics all day long in the gym. However, it is the metaphysical and the health part of it that triggers everything else that I see in my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And trauma. I mean, sometimes there's trauma, physical trauma that happens. Other than that, it is a lifetime of other trauma, whether it be relationship trauma, stress for whatever reason, whether it's their health or their environment. And it all comes down to affecting their health. One way or another, that is going to, if they're not nutritionally sound, it is going to domino effect into some disease.
Okay.
Right? Dis-ease.
Right.
They are in dis-ease.
There you go. There you go. So as you start working with people to improve their health, I don't remember doing trigonometry and calculus in the gym. You know, it's the wrong one.
Oh, not calculus. No. Physics. I do physics.
Physics, okay.
They're all just levers and pulleys.
There you go.
Technically.
But as you start working on people's health, as people start coming to you for training and improving their physical health, what do you see? How do you see that filtering out to their personal economy, their relationships, their environment? How does better health change the other sectors?
It's interesting to support them in doing their own research, because just telling them, this is what's going on in your soil doesn't always connect to people.
Right.
It's the ground up saying we've become so disassociated from that soil health, meaning plant health, meaning animal health, meaning your food, meaning your mental health, and on and on and on. What I see as these little lights go on, it's almost like a string of Christmas lights, right? So, then you see better mental health. You see paying attention to what they're putting in their mouth. You see them being aware of the water and the soil that their food's being grown in. And then, of course, when their mental health is better, they are more excited for opportunities. They see, life opens up as opportunities versus have to.
It's so funny, as you were talking, my mind wandered to my brother. I lost a brother last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized as you were talking, boy, even our mental health, physical health sector is bipolar. We don't think of them as one thing. We think of mental health problems and physical health problems, but they're really just health problems.
Oh, it's a massive disconnect.
And I remember my brother growing up, of course, very young, he got into alcohol and some of these things that he shouldn't have at so young an age. And but I think he spent a good 25 years of his life really trying to pull all that into control. And I know he started paying attention to the nutrition. He started eliminating foods. He got real concerned about some of these. He couldn't pull them all together fast enough, and finally passed away last year with multiple health problems. He had diabetes in the middle of it. But in the middle of that, he had, I think, I look at the relationship issues he had over the years, and certainly he could be a difficult person on the job. He could be difficult with some of his friendships that he made. And in hindsight, after, as things unfolded after he passed away, and you start hearing different stories and hearing how many attempts he had made to eat better food and change his diet, and of course get off the alcohol and do all these things that would make him better, you start to realize his relationships were bad because he was really sick. He was really physically and mentally and emotionally in trouble.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it affected every aspect of his life. He had trouble keeping a job. The last couple of years, he had lost his job.
Just the nutrient depletion of, alcohol abuse.
Right.
What happens to the body over years nutritionally from alcohol abuse is, it's terrible, and it's also astounding what our bodies will put up with.
Right.
Until they finally say, nah, I'm done.
It's really a mixed bag, because it makes you come to terms with the fact that our bodies are really incredibly resilient if we will work with them.
Oh, we're miracles. And I think we've forgotten just how good, what we've been blessed with.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like this spiral, this cascade that you get into, where if one of those areas falters, it all goes down. It all struggles. And the upside of that is that if you can really restore one area, then you can build everything else.
Okay, so hold on. Where are you?
So basically, I think all of us want betterment, right? Yep. But I think we really need to focus on efforts that improve these 4 sectors. We want things that improve our health, improve our environment, improve our economy, and improve our relationships. And once you really center on the fact that you need to do all 4 of those things, it's kind of amazing, because if you're tackling all 4 sectors at once, you end up drawing your efforts closer to home, making them a little bit more efficient. And it's amazing that you can actually catalyze a healing that occurs. Mm-hmm. In fact, I tell people all the time that the drivers of this system, in our living systems anyway, are the microbes that drive our health and drive our environment. Because if you can get those environments clean, those outdoor and even your inner home environment clean in a way that has not sanitized out all the biodiversity, okay, and if you can balance the microbiome in your body, then you start seeing your health and your environment improve, okay?
Yeah.
Now you've got half the puzzle solved right here.
Oh, absolutely.
Ironically, you solve this half, your economy starts getting better. When your health improves, your relationships improve. And so that's one powerful sector right there that we can take up.
Yeah. And it's not just your physical economy. This just occurred to me. It is your energetic economy, because it takes so much energy to be sick.
Right.
So, that's why we're all exhausted, right? And reaching for the coffee. Love coffee, don't get me wrong. However, if you find, it's always reaching for the next thing to stimulate you, that energetic economy of your body is just another one of those engine light things we need to pay attention to. Like, what is going on that am I not sleeping well? Am I not getting enough water? Am I not eating well? Am I not absorbing what I'm eating well?
Right.
There's a lot of things to look at, and it sounds like it could be overwhelming. However, I would like, in our next segment to talk about, we're going to lead this into, it is not as complicated as we might think it is. Yeah, there's some steps and things we have to pay attention to. However, in the big picture, it's not that complicated, and it will domino effect into every other area of our lives.
That's the nice part about it, is that, these four sectors influence each other. You start working to improve any one of them, and other efforts will improve. But if things have been out of balance for a long time, you want to target all of these things. You want to start working on better relationships. You want to smile a little bit, be a little bit nicer to people. When I talk about economy, yeah, definitely that includes how much money you have in your pocket. But literally, economy is the flow of goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it's not necessarily something you measure in dollars and cents. It's, can you get the things you need when you need them?
And are they working?
Yeah. And your environment, amazingly, you get the chemicals out of your environment, whether it's the chemicals you're putting in your body or the chemicals that you're cleaning your house with, the chemicals you're doing your yard and garden with. You start reducing those, you start cultivating microbes that mine nutrients that improve your health. And so
the environment of other people who are toxic, not just chemicals.
Right.
It
environment
will,
definitely.
Right? It'll create toxic chemical. Your body will create these, toxic chemicals, basically stress chemicals that also affect you.
Oh, and that's where the relationships come in. Oh my gosh, if you're in a toxic work environment, you are challenging your health. You are putting your health at risk. So yeah, let's do this.
I'm excited to talk more about this. This is great.
Yeah, we'll have to cover this up, or we'll have to meet again and continue this discussion. Thanks everybody for joining.
Yes, I hope you like this. This is one of many coming up. Feel free to leave comments. Be nice. Don't be toxic. Or what? We don't want that in our environment. It's bad for our health. And
tell us what you liked about this.
That's right. And if you have something to say, make it a constructive information. We appreciate that for sure. And we will see you when's our next time, maybe next week.
Yeah, let's do this again next week.
Continue our discussion. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you soon.
Have a good day.